Hello, my friends. Welcome to our first study along installment of the World Order of Baha'u'llah. Super glad that you're here and that we are going to be studying and deepening on this together. Just a couple of announcements. If you are entirely new to the Baha'i Faith, I welcome you. I think that's awesome that you're here. I have some resources linked below if you'd like to learn more about what the Baha'i Faith is. Because this is really about like a vision for the whole world and not, like Baha'i 101. I'm thrilled to get to introduce you to Shoghi Effendi, such an amazing figure in the Baha'i Faith. This first letter in this compilation was written in 1929. Shoghi Effendi is the great grandson of the prophet founder of the Baha'i Faith, and it was his role to guide the Baha'i community both in his day and beyond, to keep the community cohesive, to help the community learn how to put into practice the organizational structures that were laid down in the divinely inspired writings of Baha'u'llah. So that was Shoghi Effendi's role. And you'll be learning a whole lot more about him as we go through this book. If you would like to study along, I have this document linked below. And I also want to invite you to subscribe to this channel and like this video if you're so inspired. It's more than giving me a pat on the back. It actually helps more people find it. And we need it. So let's jump in. In the 7 letters collected in this volume, Shoghi Effendi deals with issues of world order, a paramount purpose of the Baha'i Faith. Boldly and clearly, he describes the causes that have brought humanity to its present plight and presents Baha'u'llah's teachings that alone have the power to usher in a new era of peace and unity. The letters challenge humankind to strive toward a common goal, the goal of a new world order, divine in origin, all embracing in scope. Shoghi Effendi invites us to widen our loyalties, to subordinate our national interests to the imperative claims of a unified world, and to arise resolutely and unreservedly to play our part, however small, in this greatest drama of the world's spiritual history. Oh my gosh, right? You want to play your part in the greatest drama of the world's spiritual history? What a blessing, right? What a humble, amazing blessing that we have that opportunity. So jumping into the first introduction by Horace Hawley in here, which really helps set the vision and the tone for what we are studying here. So he reminds us that details of Baha'i administration have been published separately in a document called Baha'i Administration, and that the letters collected in this book have a different aim and a far larger scope. These communications unfold a clear vision of the relation between the Baha'i community and the entire process of social evolution under the dispensation of Baha'u'llah. Social evolution. The vital distinction between the Baha'i community and the sects and congregations of former religions had already been made apparent in 1929 when this first letter came out. But the present volume establishes the Baha'i administrative order as the nucleus and pattern of the world civilization emerging under divine inspiration at this focal point in human history. You got that? This establishes the Baha'i administrative order as the nucleus and pattern of the world civilization emerging under divine inspiration at this focal point in history. So it's timely. It's referring to this time in history, but it is divinely inspired. This isn't just some man-made system of organizing humankind. Those things kind of scare me. This is divinely inspired. And Baha'i administrative order is the nucleus and pattern for an emerging world civilization. Like the yogurt starter, kind of. While, therefore, it represents a continuance of the guardian's special task of teaching and guiding the Baha'is throughout the development of a rapidly maturing faith, the volume discloses the full degree to which Baha'u'llah's message applies to the world of humanity and not merely to those who are believers at this time. So the Guardian was writing specifically to the Baha'is and helping guide the growth of the Baha'i community at the time that he wrote, in 1929, for example. It continues to be relevant today. That's the beautiful thing about the guardianship. It's always relevant, and we're finding fresh meaning in what he laid down for us. But so even though there's it's specific to his audience, it discloses the full degree to which Baha'u'llah's message applies to the world of humanity and not merely to those who are believers at this time. And Horace mentions that the subtitles we're going to be using, that different sections are organized under titles, were not originally part of the letter, but they were approved of by Shoghi Effendi. In the world order of Baha'u'llah, we are enabled to perceive the significance of the new dimension which Baha'u'llah gave to religion in this era. So the new dimension that Baha'u'llah gave to religion, the supremacy of divine law in civilization, fulfilling the supremacy which in previous dispensations religion had exercised over individual souls. Shoghi Effendi's exposition of the teachings, his unique realization of the ultimate aim and purpose of Baha'u'llah, are no static commentary upon a sacred text, but the very essence of world statesmanship evoked in the hour of man's direst need. No longer do the Baha'is require Abdul-Bahá's written testament to prove the existence of the guardianship. The successive communications from Shoghi Effendi, and especially those devoted to the subject of world order, in themselves contain the highest demonstration that Baha'u'llah's spirit continues to bless his cause and assure its victory in the reconciliation of the peoples of earth and their union in one faith and one order. For those who have inclined to believe that even the realization of the mighty dream of the return of Christ would mean nothing more than the vindication of personal spirituality and individual righteousness, the idea of religion giving a law to the nation is the most revolutionary conception which can enter the mind of man. For Baha'u'llah, we should readily recognize, has not only imbued mankind with a new and regenerating spirit, He has not merely enunciated certain universal principles or propounded a particular philosophy, however potent and sound and universal these may be. In addition to these, he, as well as Abdul-Bahá after him, his son, has, unlike the dispensations of the past, clearly and specifically laid down a set of laws, established definite institutions, and provided for the essentials of divine economy. These are destined to be a pattern for future society, a supreme instrument for the establishment of the most great peace and the one agency for the unification of the world and the proclamation of the reign of righteousness and justice upon the earth. Does not the very operation of the world unifying forces that are at work in this age necessitate that he who is the bearer of the message of God in this day should not only reaffirm that self-same exalted standard of individual conduct inculcated by the prophets gone before him, but embody in his appeal to all governments and peoples the essentials of that special code, that divine economy, which must guide humanity's concerted efforts in establishing that all-embracing federation which is to signalize the advent of the kingdom of God on this earth. Okay, are you guys with me? Are you following this? I bet some of you are. Some of you are like, whew, this is some elevated language and some elevated syntax and way to communicate because it's such an elevated topic. But what I am understanding here is that Horace Hawley, using also quotes from Shoghi Effendi, is making it really clear that the return of Christ, he gives that one example, Baha'u'llah is the return of the expressed will of God, is not merely about individual salvation. And it's not simply about universal principles of love thy neighbor and do unto others. It is the regeneration of those principles. But it also includes these clearly defined laws and institutions and principles, essentials for a divine economy, for organizing the whole world so that the kingdom of God is like we've actually been given the blueprint. So it's not merely about personal salvation. It is also a divinely inspired world blueprint. That is how I understand it. And this is revolutionary in the history of faith. And it's amazing. Like, gosh, wouldn't it be great if God would just tell us how to organize society, since humans seem to get their egos involved and all kinds of stuff. Like, we've been given it. And that's why we're studying this book, so we can really understand its essentials and then how do we put it into practice. But that's how I understand that paragraph we just read, and I think he's going to continue to make this point a few more times. So let's see if you get any more meanings out of this, and you can leave it in the comments, your understanding, or if you think I missed something, please, I want to learn from you. We can learn together. Such words as these, charged with the potency of a faith that is not merely a written book, but the very dynamic spirit transforming the life of the entire world, make the world order of Baha'u'llah a work of consummate importance to every sincere seeker, and not to Baha'is alone. In the light of the existing international chaos, how did he know? International chaos has been a thing for a while. They reveal the most significant truth of this era, namely, that the old conception of religion, which separated spirituality from the fundamental functions of civilization, compelling men to abide by conflicting principles of faith, of politics, and of economics, has been forever destroyed. The command, render unto God that which is of God, and unto Caesar that which is of Caesar, has been annulled by the law of the oneness of humanity revealed by Baha'u'llah. All right, are you with me? The way I understand this, and again, this is Horace Holly, that formally we've separated spirituality from economics, from politics, etc., which is kind of the same as, sort of having your church life and your work life and your family life and your workout life and, your playtime life. And that in the Baha'i Faith, these are all cohesive. Baha'u'llah has given the regeneration for our inner life and for the organization of society to reflect that divine light, and that it's been annulled unto God what is God, and unto Caesar what is Caesar. Is that I was going to make a joke about taxes, but I'm going to restrain myself. And this I thought was super intriguing. I've understood that the distinguishing feature of the Baha'i Faith is the recognition of the oneness of humanity. But I had never before seen this oneness in terms of also the cohesiveness of all areas of life and all areas of society and civilization. You can't separate your spiritual life from your economic life, from your political life, from your family life, from your health. All of these things, this is part of the oneness of humanity. It's all one. It is all one. It's like so mystical and it's so practical at the same time. Continuing with the book. Leaders of religion, exponents of political theories, governors of human institutions who at present are witnessing with perplexity and dismay the bankruptcy of their ideas and the disintegration of their handiwork, would do well to turn their gaze to the revelation of Baha'u'llah and to meditate upon the world order which, lying enshrined in his teachings, is slowly and imperceptibly rising amid the welter and chaos of present-day civilization. Leaders of religion, exponents of political theories, governors of human institutions are witnessing the bankruptcy of their ideas and the disintegration, the falling apart of everything they sought to build. And they would do well to turn their gaze to the revelation of Baha'u'llah, to God's manifestation, to God's mouthpiece for this day, and to meditate upon the world order enshrined in his teachings that is slowly and imperceptibly rising amid the welter and chaos of present-day civilization. So I think that is enough to cover for today. Very interesting, these ideas of cohesiveness individually, like cohesive in our individual lives, and then cohesive in civilization, that spirituality is not separate from economics, from our work, from our politics, from the way we move in the world, the way we organize society, and that this is one expression of oneness, and that Baha'u'llah has revealed the will of God, which includes this divinely inspired civilization. Please leave your comments, anything else that struck you. And again, I have this document linked below, as well as a study guide if you want to go over this with other people or enrich your own study even further than this. I will be back next Friday with another installment reading the World Order of Baha'u'llah. Thanks so much for joining me. Bye-bye.